Hi folks, Jesse Simmons back with Dr. Andrew Iverson, who has a health clinic here in Tacoma, Washington, talking about healthy cooking out of Nature's Diets cookbook. I know we're gonna have some lunch here shortly, and us Americans, we love sauces. Something maybe to dip in, some spread on our bread.
We are a saucy country. We
are.
Eat more sauce than any other country combined, I swear.
Well, one of your favorite sauces in here that I like to put on my bread is mayonnaise on page 354.
Well, nobody likes mayonnaise as much as myself.
Well, I noticed a little tidbit here in your book about...
What does it say?
Dr. Iverson, as a child, instead of reaching his hand in that cookie jar for a cookie, he'd reach his hand in that mayonnaise jar and take a handful of mayonnaise. That's so unusual.
It is unusual, and it was just a natural craving. I guess I just needed more fats. But unfortunately, the fats in mayonnaise are so unhealthy.
They are.
Literally, soybean oil is the main fat that's used. If the soybean is from an organic source, which is probably never from, it's obviously a genetically modified organism, a GMO, which means it has even a higher level of pesticides because they can put so many pesticides on those soybeans now that they're a GMO, right? It's not just the fact that they're genetically altered, it's that they have a high amount of pesticides in them. And that's not good when you're making a fatty substance. Now, being a lover of mayonnaise myself, especially Best Foods mayonnaise, which was my favorite, it's hard to make something that tastes exactly the same. So it took a lot of trials and tribulations and tests, which I was fine doing because I got to taste them all. But this is the closest that I've come so far. Okay. And the beauty about it is that mayonnaise disguises certain foods that kids won't eat. So we can make dips with mayonnaise, we can make the famous ranch dressing with mayonnaise, we can do a lot of other great things which we'll go about in a moment. But we have to start with mayonnaise with eggs. Look how pretty those eggs are. Wow. Clearly you would never buy like that in the store.
No.
That's because these are from our farm. And they are pasture raised. Now if you're gonna buy eggs, these are raw eggs we're using, remember? I know that you're kind of concerned about salmonella.
Well, every time I crack an egg, it gets on my fingers and I always feel I need to wash them.
It's not the inside of the egg that's the problem, it's the outside, you see, because that's where you'd have the conditions of the bacteria. But even more than that, we have to recognize that healthy chickens produce healthy eggs. So if you're buying eggs of chickens that are running free inside the yard, picking at the bugs, getting the grass, they're going to be stronger and healthier chickens, less likely to have some type of contamination with them. And that's fine if you do buy those organic at the store, but try to get the ones that say organic pasture raised. They're going to be more money, but it's worth it. The other factor is that if you do get your own eggs, make sure you wash them. The outside, and you can either hydrogen peroxide them or you can clean them with soapy water, and then they're ready to go. So we cracked a couple eggs inside of here. What we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and start. Now this is an old school Cuisinart.
I like it.
Cuisinart. This is actually 20 plus years.
Wow.
As well.
Wow.
And it just keeps on going. So good investments will just really keep on going on. So. Jesse, let's go ahead and start this. I'm going to pull the top out of the top, and let's just go ahead and start by adding in, first of all, the eggs. So we're going to add in 2 eggs with the egg yolks.
All right, let me pour those in with my clean hands.
Yeah, I'm glad that you cleaned. We both cleaned. Now we're each going to add 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon. You're going to add in apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to add in rice vinegar. Now, the traditional mayonnaise use white vinegar, and it actually tastes better. This is going to be healthier for you because it has the natural fermentation products or the healthy bacteria. This one's more clarified. It's not as healthy for you, but at least it doesn't have some of the additives in it. So we're going to put these in as the egg is churning because we want this churning effect to go on. So it's 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon each. Or if you only had one or the other, then you would just use one or the other. No big deal. So in goes my tablespoon.
In goes mine.
And then in goes a teaspoon, please. And 1 teaspoon for you. And then after you put in that, if you could just get that fresh water. Now we need the water to dilute some of that acidity. Don't put all that in, my friend.
Just a little.
No. We're going to do 3 teaspoons.
Okay,
be careful here. So 3 teaspoons. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to get 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice that we just squeezed. 1 teaspoon of that and 1 teaspoon of that. So now you can see we have a really nice mix that's going on here. Of course, mayonnaise wouldn't be mayonnaise unless it had a little bit of salt. So I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of salt, And it needs some sweetener. Now typically I put honey inside this mix, but I don't have honey today, so I used another type of sweetener. Be careful there, we don't want to get it too sweet.
Just showing
it. It's going to be approximately 1/2 a teaspoon of that.
1/2.
And you can pack it down. So mayonnaise has a little sweet and salty, so it's not the healthiest food for you. Go ahead and pack that in real tight. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the spoonful of sea salt. Now, different kinds of sea salt. I like real salt. We do not use Morton's salt. We use some type of healthy mineral salt.
You know, I see a lot of people using iodine salt.
Okay, so
is that a benefit health-wise?
Well, of course, iodine. Go ahead and put that in there. Iodine was put in our salt. Is that a quarter or is that a half?
That was a real packed quarter.
Okay, so we need one more packed quarter.
Okay.
To make that right. The reason why iodine was put inside of our salt was because people in the breadbasket per se, were getting goiter because they weren't getting enough seafood, and the foods were not growing with enough iodine in them. And so, because of that, iodization has gone throughout all of our salting. But unfortunately, the iodine they put it in, it'd be fine if they put it in sea salt. But they're putting it inside sodium chloride, which is a chemical salt. There is you would not find sodium chloride in nature like that. Everything we're doing is we're going back to nature, okay?
Yeah.
That's the idea behind Nature's Diet and Nature's Diet Cookbook. So now we have all the liquid ingredients. Now comes the fun part. And you're going to do this, my friend. You're going to very gently drizzle this. Now this requires some real tenacity. So make sure you drizzle it in just a little bit of a stream, and we're going to do this over the course of about a minute. Go ahead and begin.
Nice and slow as I drizzle.
There we go. So what it's doing now is it's very slowly able to incorporate the fat with air. And this mixes with the egg yolk to emulsify them together. That's what makes it more digestible. Now, you can see Jesse is pouring 2 cups of extra virgin olive oil and extra light. Now, you can either do 2 cups of extra virgin or 2 cups of light, or a mixture of the two, which is what we've done.
Right.
As I was telling you, extra virgin is really kind of bitter.
It is.
And so, if you use that entirely by itself, you may not like the mayonnaise at all if you're just starting. If you use just the light, it won't be as healthy for you because it's more processed, but it will taste more like the mayonnaise that you're using. Today we're using 1 cup of each of them and we're drizzling it. You can also hear that. I chose glass bottles. Yeah, I would have liked to have had organic olive oil. It's harder to come by. But the glass is an important reason. If we buy olive oil that is stored in plastic, when you have the plastic touching the oil like that, it's much more likely that the plastic molecules can come into the fat, into the oil, particularly if they've been exposed to heat or sunlight. That causes that molecules to race more quickly, and it pulls those very unhealthy plastic molecules. Plastic is one of the most dangerous chemicals in our environment. We should not have plastic water bottles. No. We should not store our food in plastic unless it's just for a short period of time. Right. And we should never have fat in plastic because those two touching each other are more likely to pull those large plastic molecules. Wow. Plastic molecules affect the sex hormones because they look a lot like estrogen or testosterone or some of these other hormones.
So is it only heat?
Well, heat
is the concern when foods, liquids are in the plastic?
Because it speeds up the molecules.
But it is a concern even without the heat.
Oh, of course it is. But if you put, for example, a water bottle inside your car on a hot day, you get water that tastes like plastic. We've all drank out of a plastic hose. We know what that hose tastes like. That's just pure chemical. You don't want it in your body. Now he's almost finished up here, and you can see what we're getting. It's starting to slow down a little bit. It is. Okay? Because the emulsification's occurring. And there we go. We just basically stopped it on its own.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and open this up. Don't pour the rest of that in there right now. What we're going to do is we're going to check and see what we have.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going to stir this up.
It looks like mayonnaise already. The consistency is there.
Yes, the consistency is there.
Very interesting.
But what I want to do is I just want to stir this together. And you're going to see that it has a consistency that is not quite like mayonnaise. You see, it's
not
almost.
Yet, but once it chills, I can see it.
Once it chills, it will do that. It will. So let's go ahead and take a little taste, huh?
You won't have to twist my arm, Doc I.
All right, here we go, everybody. So the color's different, right?
Now I know your addiction here to this mayonnaise. Small bites.
I will be very cautious.
Wow.
What do you think?
I think that's tasty.
What does it taste like?
Olive oil to me, but that is its base, so I can taste the olive oil.
It's salty.
Very good.
Not
Has
too
the
sweet.
Salt, not much sweet.
Has enough acidity in it to really pull that mayonnaise flavor together.
Yeah. That's very, very good.
Okay, so we're going to use this as a base. And we're going to show you some more recipes with this. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Doc.
You bet.